but we are absolutely looking forward to your questions and your comments. So be sure to drop those below. I went blank for a minute. I'm new to this. I'm new to going. So I have my friend Karley Hall here with me. Karley, while we wait on just a few people to join us, do you mind telling me a little bit about yourself as a crafter? And then we'll wait for a few people to jump in and we'll get to our face shields.
Yeah. I've been crafting professionally for the last 5 years. I didn't know that you could craft professionally. I didn't know that was a real job, but I did a DIY wedding and then ended up working at Silhouette America. And then after that, I ended up working at Cricut. And now I craft for myself on karleyhall.com, teaching people how to use their Cricut machines. And by far, this has been the best job, albeit very stressful. It's a really fun job teaching people how to use their machines. As Holly knows, it's the most rewarding job when somebody comes to you and says, you taught me how to use my Cricut machine and I'm going to be forever grateful to you. So it's a really rewarding job and I love doing it. I've been doing the blogging side of things for about 8 months now and it's flown by. I can't believe I've been doing it for 8 months already.
I didn't know you've been doing it for 8 months.
Yeah, crazy. It's April. Yeah. It might be nice.
That is crazy. I have dipped my little pinky toe into the blog. Look, I have dipped this ugly quarantine finger into the blog pool, and it is hard. It is difficult.
I have so much respect for like actual bloggers because I still consider myself like a toddler blogger where like I don't really know what I'm doing yet and I'm learning how to do it. But yeah, blogging is so much more work than I ever imagined. So
yes, it is. So we have 100 people on here live. If somebody could just say hello to us and so that I can see your comments, maybe drop where you're from, where you're watching from, what state. And so I can just make sure that your comments are coming through. If you have any questions for me or for Karley during this live, I will bring them up onto the screen and we can address those. So hi Laura from North Carolina. Hey Joanna from Kansas City. So I wanted to talk to the group just a bit about why we have some of these rules in place about the masks and about the COVID. So as a group owner, I've had this group for 3 years now. This is brand new territory for all of us. This is not something that we have gone through together separately or that we know anybody that has gone through this. So it's really hard to navigate this situation. And I really, really want Cricut Craft Life to stay true to its roots and be that safe place for people to go and escape. So while we are going through this, we're not oblivious to the fact that it's impactful to the world. Is that a word? It's really hard on everybody. So we have a thread in the main post that is for masks. And why I decided to keep that one thread exclusive, actually there's two threads exclusive to the announcements, is that it's not because I'm trying to inhibit people from sharing or making masks. It's that I think about my mom. I can't tell you her age, but she's almost 70 years old. I'm just going to do it. I'm just putting it out there. And she works 12, 13-hour days as a nurse. And during this time, I think about my mom constantly. And I think, what would she need from my group? Because she's a crafter. And I think I don't want her to come home and have to sift through these resources. I want her to have one available spot that she can go and look and find the links and find the tutorials and find the materials. And people that are needing masks are welcome to ask for donations or how they can acquire them on that one thread. So having that one thread makes it more accessible in a 230,000 member group, you know? And so I hope that you guys understand that I am so passionate about the mask, and that's why Karley's here to talk to us today about the shields. And that's why I just want us to have that one solid resource place where you can go and look and you don't have to search. So instead of just the mask, Karley has created face shields. And these are really neat because you can make them with your Cricut, right?
Yeah, you can. And you can make them by hand too. So even if your friends don't have a Cricut, you can hand cut them. They're really easy to make.
Do you have to have a maker, or is it cuttable?
No, you can cut this on both the Explorer machines and the Maker. So it's really easy to make. And I know you shared 2 of the videos. So I was able to make a YouTube video and I got some feedback. I had originally created the mask based off of what I had seen out there already. So an NYU team had developed a shield and I based my design largely off of that, but I didn't have access to larger than 8.5 by 11 transparency film. Right. And so I had to scale mine to make it work on a smaller, more accessible size. And so that's how I came up with the design. And I worked with one of my friends as a doctor and we went back and forth. And I was so thankful that he was able to kind of walk me through what was important to him. Because when you're talking to people like your mom that are on the front lines of this, they're going to be able to tell you what they need. And I felt so silly being like, is this something that can even help you, or is this a waste of our time? And he was like, absolutely not. The more people that can make a shield, even if it's not 100% enclosed like a bubble, it will help protect us more, and it will increase the longevity of our fabric masks that crafters are making.
Yeah.
And the longevity of N95 masks. So having his kind of buy off and sign off on this, I was like full steam ahead. I couldn't sleep. All I wanted to do was make the shield. And then when you put it out into the world, it's kind of like your baby, like don't be too harsh. So I know that there are shortcomings. This is not PPP that's like, or PPE that's professionally created. It's a crafter making it. So there's going to be shortcomings to it.
Right.
But the overwhelming response has been that this has been so positive for this community. And what I would recommend is if you know a organization or a hospital that needs PPE, to reach out to them directly and ask, hey, I have this shield and I want to make more of these. Would this be helpful, or would I need to modify the design in any way? And so when I reached out to the organizations that I'm working with, they were thrilled with just having anything. So it really depends on where your state is at with what they need. And you can call somebody. I mean, I know it takes time for you and for them to get back to you, but if you're patient, they'll get back to you. So I brought one of my shields that I made, and the main overall feedback was that people loved it because you only needed transparency film to make it. And I brought transparency too, so everyone knows what I'm talking about.
Well, yeah, because I didn't know what it was. I was about to ask you, what is transparency film? What is it normally used for?
Well, back when we were in school, I don't know if they still use them, but you know, projectors where you would go and it would reverse it and put it up onto a wall. That's what the transparency film is intended for. I had some on hand because I love using it to trace. One of my crafts recently was those alphabet boards. So I had some on hand. And so I was like, well, if I can get this pretty easily, then other people can get it. So this shield, it's made out of 2 pieces. There's the front shield. And then I opted to do a strap that was made out of transparency. And the first reason I did it was because I thought it'd be easier to sterilize. So if you can wipe it down, it's not nearly as comfortable. So my doctor friends were like, add the foam back to it. So, but it works either way. You can have a piece of foam or just the transparency film. And then right now I have a scrap of fabric tied to it because I just wanted to show that you don't need elastic. You can use a cut up t-shirt. You can use string. It does not need to be elastic. But like I mentioned, the main shortcoming of this one is when you put it on, there is an opening at the top. So I've seen revised designs that have the closed top. They're harder to make. So check with your organizations and see what they're willing to take. And then I worked with Michael's and they wanted a shield that was even easier. So I was like, yep, I'm all for it. So we created this shield, which doesn't have an opening at the top because it has that foam. So when you put it against your face, there's the foam that has it right on the top, but you do need some type of elastic to staple onto it. So this shield is made out of acetate, and acetate is a little bit heavier, and you can see that it's also much bigger. So acetate is available at most local craft stores. You can get it shipped to you, so you don't even have to leave your house. Obviously, we want everyone to stay home if you can. So you can get it shipped to you. And then I'm trying to think, somebody asked if you could use lamination sheets. And I do a lamination sheet, but I'm having problems getting it to be clear. So when I ran it through, I've had trouble, but other people are saying that it works. So I wanted to test it. I ordered some lamination sheets. I'm just getting a little bit of haze. So I would recommend transparency film, which is thinner, or acetate. So 2 different clear films that you can use.
Did Cricut offer acetate at one time?
Yes. So Cricut has a clear acetate, and that's actually the brand that I use. Michael still sells it, so I bought mine at Michael's. And then they have foil ones, so wouldn't recommend using those because you're not. But they do have a clear acetate, and then Memory Keepers also has a clear acetate.
Okay.
The other thing that I've seen online, a lot of questions, a lot of people were trying to cut 0.02 craft plastic, which is like a PETG film. So it's like a thick plastic. And the maker, while you can use a knife blade and cut through it, you still have to snap it to break it out. So it's not really user friendly. It's made to be cut on CNCs or lasers. So if you go down the route of wanting to order craft plastic, I would say either cut it by hand with scissors, but don't try to cut it on your Cricut because it's a little bit too rigid, a little too thick to get through even with a knife blade.
Right. So Cricut should have a setting for the acetate if they.
So I cut the acetate on the acetate setting, and then transparency film actually has a transparency film setting too. So you have to look up transparency. And the link that you linked to, I walked through the entire tutorial on both of these shields. So they're really easy to make. This one's even easier, but you do need to have foam and elastic. But you don't even need a Cricut machine. You just have to round the bottom corners. And that's it. So that's the only cut you're making. Whereas this one has several holes and it's a little bit more tricky to assemble. But you don't need the foam. So there's, positives to both.
Right.
And then I got a lot of questions about like, what the heck is this weather stripping and why did you have that? I had it because I vent out my laser through the window. And so I put this around to make sure that it's nice and sealed. But it's adhesive on one side and then not sticky on the other.
That's perfect.
Yeah, so it works great.
So it's weather strip
on Amazon or from like a Home Depot or Lowe's type of store.
Oh, okay. Well, that is so neat. So some people would ask, why would they need a shield? But like you said, it's going to provide longer longevity to the masks.
Yep.
And then you have to think like my mom works at a nursing home and they still have to do procedures and they still have to do patient contact, even if there's not, crossing my fingers, knocking on wood, praying to God, there's not any positive cases in that one setting. They still have to take all precautions because I think they said there was an alarming rate of people that are walking around asymptomatic.
Right, but actually have it,
That actually have it,
and like when I was talking to my friends that are doctors that are, on the front lines of this all, they were saying that it's terrifying to be a healthcare professional right now. And that's like receptionists, people that are doing billing, like every single person that makes a hospital run or a doctor's office run. It's terrifying because this virus is spread so easily. And it's through the droplets that, somebody's sneezing or coughing. And like, when they are testing them, like they want to be protected as much as they can. So of course, this is not going to be as effective as a professional shield. And I've seen so many makers come together since I'm a part of 3D printing groups and laser groups.
Right.
They're making even better shields than we can make as Cricut crafters. But again, the overwhelming response to even these shields has just been so much happiness and they're so thankful. Like, I would recommend everyone calling your local, organizations and just asking, because I think a lot of us, we think, oh, we can't help. There's no way for us to help, or it's silly that I even want to try to help. But then when you call them and you're actually talking to them, they're like, wow, that would really make a difference. But we're all assuming that we're all doing it. And so it's not getting done as much as we think. And I think that's kind of how I felt with the fabric masks too. I'm like, why would I sew these? Everyone's making them. And then I actually call, and there's so many organizations that still need them. So
there's definitely a shortage. And what's good about these shields is that not all of us are seamstresses. And even though that they have different options, like a no sew, and then there's the easy sew, you just need a really simple machine. Some people just don't want to sew. So this would be a good, easy craft that they can make and still contribute to the healthcare community without doing the mask.
Yeah, your hard work is really all the crickets doing all the heavy lifting. I was able to whip out 100 of these shields, whereas while the shields were cutting on my cricket, I was only able to sew like 7 masks because I'm not a sewer. So being able to try to sew, I just felt like it was ineffective. Whereas I could cut all these masks. And, I talked to several people at these organizations, and one of them was a nursing home. And what was interesting when I talked to them was that my friend was telling me that the filtration system in this nursing home is so state of the art that they're actually going to take people that are infected with the coronavirus and put them into isolation in this nursing home.
Wow.
So they are converting a nursing home, but now you need to protect the people that live in that nursing home. Yes. And so things like that I would have never assumed that they needed as much PPE as they do need. They need masks, they need shields, they need everything. So yeah, I'm one of those people that just, I feel like I'm trapped at home right now and I want to help, but I didn't know how to help. Yeah. And so, I think crafting for us is a good outlet for a lot of us in here, that we're like, if we can craft, we're happy. And if we can have a positive output, we're even happier. Yeah. So it doesn't take much to call somebody and just see if they need help.
Yeah, I'm really amazed. And that's kind of this is kind of that a part of the series, just kind of crafting through the community and what people are doing to help, and how people are doing at home. It's amazing how the community has pulled together and is doing everything they can to help others.
Yeah, I'm so impressed with the crafting community, because, the masks that have been sewed, the shields that have been cut, even the ear guards. There was another thing, ear savers, where they're cutting ear savers out of acetate. And I was like, that's genius. Like, yes. This is insane. Like,
I know. So if you guys have any questions for Karley at all, you are welcome to ask, and we will go ahead and get those going. So I'm going to, at the end of this video, I'm going to cross-post this, and I'm going to include Karley's 2 links. So one is for Michael's, and one is just for your personal YouTube, right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I'm going to include those here. I'm going to put those in the mask post in the announcements of Cricut Craft Life. It'll be in the description box on YouTube. It'll be in the description box on the content creator page. It'll be on the swipe up on Instagram. We're just going to put it everywhere, so you guys don't have to look. I think my part of doing things is just, I want to put all of the resources in one good solid place. So like I said, those nurses working 12 hours a day don't have to come home and sift through. They can just have it right at their fingertips.
Yeah.
So for the mask, I mean, you really basically need just a few essential.
Yeah, like for the Michael's mask, you just need your clear acetate, elastic if you can get it. I have seen so many people be so creative that somebody posted that they used a pipe cleaner. They just punched holes. And and then the foam is still pretty easy to get. So you can actually still get the foam shipped to you rather easily. Elastic, we know there's a huge elastic shortage at this point. But yeah, so I just stapled my elastic onto each side, stuck the foam on, and rounded the corners. And this shield is done in less than a minute. Whereas this shield, you really only need the transparency film, and then you can get creative with the strap depending on who you're giving it to. So if you're, if you have your own organization and you're just trying to protect your staff at a grocery store, you can have them use twine or ribbon or different ways to tie it around your head, which I kind of addressed in my YouTube tutorial, where you kind of just tape it around and then bow it in the back. So
and then you can replace it next shift.
Right. So you just wipe down your shield with a Clorox wipe and then just replace that string. So hopefully that these are, staying clean, and they're pretty reusable. But even if they weren't reusable, being able to cut a bunch on your Cricut machine and then just being able to put a new string in them each shift would be amazing.
So Amy says, thank you, Karley, for showing us how to create these shields. I totally agree. I am thankful, like you said, I did not think about it increasing the longevity of the masks.
Moisture is the enemy right now. So like any type of moisture on the mask, like even just having, I know, like, because in my brain, I really did not think this would be effective. So I understand the comments of concern and, asking, but when you're talking to doctors that have these, high accolades and are telling you, no, this does make a difference, I'm going to trust the doctors, because that's what helps me sleep at night.
Yeah.
So thank you for, allowing your group to see this, because I feel like the more shields we can get out there, the better. And of course, like, if other people have better ideas on how to make these, like, I love learning. I love, making sure that we're not sharing incorrect information. And I love that we keep all the information in one spot so we don't have to sift through it, because I find that so helpful. I was so overwhelmed sewing my masks. I was like, where do I go? And then when I saw your post, I was like, this is what I'm going to do.
Yes. So I will go ahead and include those links. So thank you so much, my friend Karley, for doing this live for us. Thank you guys for joining us. Next week, we will have more lives with some creators, and I am going to link all of Karley's social accounts if you want to watch other videos of hers in these posts. So look for those. So thank you, Karley, and thank you to the members of Cricut Craft Life. If you have questions after this video is over, feel free to go ahead and ask them in the comments, and we'll be sure to help you.
Yay, all right. I'll see you soon.